I am a male teen, the oldest in my family, and I have 3 younger siblings. Elle, a young female teen, Noah, a female tween, and Cole, a male tween. Our mom died 6 years ago. Our dad remarried 3 years ago. My dad's wife is Kim. The day after my dad and Kim got married, they told us they wanted Kim to be able to adopt us in the near future. Kim said she couldn't wait to grow as our bonus mom, and she was so excited to have 4 kids. She told Cole she was determined to be the best mom she could think of because he wouldn't remember our birth mother, and promised he wouldn't get to say he grew up never knowing a mother's love. She also told my sisters and me that she was here to be the best bonus mom, and we could talk about our mom still, but she wanted us to give her a chance to be more than just the wicked old stepmother. It was a bit over a year later that my dad and Kim tried to get the adoption pushed through. However, the judge wanted to do interviews with each of us kids, and before that, we had to do 10 therapy sessions before these interviews would take place. It was very difficult than I expected. I thought we'd be asked what we wanted, but it wasn't like that. We did the therapy, and then we spoke to the judge. Apparently, all 4 of us said we didn't want Kim to adopt us, and my siblings told me they were asked if they would ever call Kim mom, and they said no. Kim cried in front of the judge when he told my dad and Kim that he wasn't going to approve the adoption. Dad asked what had gone wrong, and the judge told him it wasn't in our best interest. The next year, there was a crazy lot of Kim being upset and trying to smother us with love so we'd love her back. Maybe some of my siblings love her, but I don't really like her, and that started strongly from the moment she called my mom our birth mother, as if she gave us up for adoption instead of dying while we were kids. Kim also told me she felt like I wasn't fair, and without my birth mother, I didn't have a second legal parent, or whatever she meant. My dad would also say we were making their lives more difficult. Then he and Kim also had a baby, and even after the baby, she didn't take her focus off of us and tried to win us over. Dad started taking us each individually and asking if we'd agree to be adopted if they tried again. Then last month, he told me my siblings are copying me, and they don't want to look like they're betraying mom or me. He told me I needed to tell them I was okay with them being adopted and that I wanted them to be adopted. He also told me I needed to pretend I'd be adopted too if it came to that. I said no. Dad yelled at me. Kim cried that night, so I guess he told her what I said. Dad gave me a week and brought it up again, as well as Kim crying, and I told him I won't lie or trick my siblings, and I don't care if Kim cries over it or not. I'm not going to make them accept Kim as their adoptive mother. My dad told me I was not thinking of my siblings at all. He also said Kim didn't deserve this. Am I the idiot for telling my dad I won't trick my siblings? Not the idiot. Your father and stepmother are manipulative idiots. The birth mother is so insulting. Your stepmother isn't your mother to begin with. Just ignore them, as the judge says it's not in your best interest to be adopted by someone you and your siblings clearly don't love as a mother. Don't let them manipulate you into consenting. I'm surprised they're so immature. It's very frustrating to have selfish parents. I hope you can stand your ground and feel proud for not allowing them to emotionally coerce you into such an important decision. I really wouldn't want to have someone like that as my mother. Don't let her get power over you and your siblings. She might not use that kind of power for your benefit, and your now father will not be there to defend you against her. Really proud of your clear defense of your family's interest. You're a strong kid. It is worth reminding your father that you and your siblings were all asked individually about this, not as a group, which makes it clear that they have their own opinions. Sounds like Kim and your dad need therapy for being so obsessed about what is essentially just a piece of paper, as you're likely living as a blended family anyway, and their manipulative behavior is counterproductive. Stand your ground and hope you have another family member or a trusted adult who can support you. We have 2 kids, a young grammar schooler and a toddler. I've been a stay-at-home mom for 6 years. Truth be told, I wish to go back to work now that our oldest is in school and our youngest can be in daycare. I expressed my desire to go back to work, but my husband is against the idea. He thinks having a parent home is valuable and great for the child. That's how he was raised, while I was raised in a family where both parents had to work. After some discussion, my husband relented and told me he couldn't stop me. Still, he told me all child care and work-related expenses would come from my salary. He knows that it's messed up because he knows community social workers don't make much. My husband told me he would still cover everything he has, but everything related to my job or work is on me. I told him we should split costs equitably, and he told me flat out no. He claimed that because I wish to work, I should be the one who carries that cost. I don't know what to feel or do. Childcare costs are on the complicated side. My husband has high standards and feels that if our child needs to be in care of someone, it should be the best possible care. Our oldest is in private school, and he expects the same quality of care as our youngest. My starting salary will be on the low end, like $40K, and my hours would be 9 to 5, but with the commute, I'll be out for about 10 hours. We only have one family car, so we would need to get a second car because my husband probably would handle pickups and I would handle drop-offs. The places my husband likes are on the high end, like $19K to $24K a year, not counting other expenses associated with daycare. This does not count potential car cost, increases in insurance, and fuel cost, among other things. I get the math side of things, but the reality is we can afford it. My husband could cover the cost and be fine. We've already agreed to put our kids in private school from the start, so he's just being an idiot about this entire situation. No, I don't need to work, but being home is not for me either. Yes, I agreed to this originally, but I was wrong. I'm not cut out to be at home all the time. As for the abuse, maybe I don't know. We have one shared account, and he would never question what's being spent unless it's something crazy. End of day, I want to work, and if that means I make nothing, so be it. I get his concerns about our kids being in daycare or school for nearly 12 hours, but my mental health matters. So if you start working, you won't be able to pay for childcare? Your husband has a point. You are the idiot. Working is absolutely about making money, even if your reasons for wanting to make money are deeper than that. Having a family means being concerned about the overall needs of the family, sometimes to the exclusion of your own wants. If your job isn't paying enough to cover the new cost to the family in the form of childcare, then you aren't making the decision based on what the family needs. You're doing it based on your wants. Wrong. What point does he have? It isn't about the money to him. He wants her to be at home with the youngest because that's the dynamic that was modeled in his life, and he can't imagine his family any other way. He just wants her to pay for it to punish her for having a choice he doesn't agree with. The money he makes for the family is apparently at his absolute discretion. That's pretty shameful behavior for a husband to have. Working isn't just about making money. He's dumping the entire cost of a shared responsibility on her. OP's husband is definitely the idiot. Not the idiot, but why are you staying with someone so blatantly financially abusive? Just divorce him. His alimony and child support can pay for those things. Girl, you're in a financially abusive relationship. Run! My daughter's been married to her husband for 3 years, and they recently had their first child. The entire time they've been married, she's been a housewife, and now she's a stay-at-home mom with no plans to return to work. I think that's fine and have been supportive. I also know she and her husband both have sizable life insurance policies, so if God forbid one dies, they'll be okay. However, she also signed a prenup, which again I think is smart. But according to my daughter, she'd get a very small settlement, and even with child support, there's a good chance she'd have to return to work. After being out of the workforce for a bit, who knows if that'll be a challenge? My main worry is that my niece fell into this scenario, and even with child support, she struggled. So my husband, her father, and I set up a just-in-case account. If she and her husband divorce, she'll have money to fall back on, just in case. If they remain married past the time my husband and I die, it'll just be added to what she'll inherit. I didn't intend on telling her about it unless it happened, but my husband pointed out that if she was ever in a situation where she wanted to leave but worried she financially couldn't, it'd be good for her to know she has a plan B. So we told her, and she was a little surprised. She said she appreciated it but felt we were rooting against her. I said we love her husband and we hope they have a long, healthy marriage. We've always been supportive, but this is similar to the prenup, a just in case, a last resort. Well, she told her husband, and he's angry at us as well, saying that we don't trust him. I said it's looking out for our daughter and really is no different from the prenup. I added that just as he'll always want to protect his daughter, we'll always want to protect ours. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. In his own words, your son-in-law said he doesn't trust your daughter by not having her sign a prenup. Does nobody see the double standard? I am struggling every single day. My parents had something set aside for me if I were faced with this very scenario. I was. Only my abusive ex found out and stole every last dime. We had to start over with literally nothing. Your daughter should be grateful. Wow, dude wanted a prenup, but no just-in-case fund for her. Who were he or his parents rooting for with that prenup? Good for you guys. You just leveled the playing field. She's lucky to have you, and I'm glad he knows. It makes for a more equal dynamic. A decent prenup would have included a just-in-case fund for her. The husband's a selfish jerk and a hypocrite. I very much don't like the husband either. This whole situation sounds financially controlling. There are red flags all over the place, OP. Whatever you do, do not give them the money. I'm expecting that to be the next evolution of the situation. Daughter coming to you telling you that if you really support the marriage, you'll give her the money now. Do not give in. Or if you didn't tell them the amount, give them a small amount now to keep the connection alive with your daughter and keep saving. I'm afraid you're going to need it one day. When I, a female teen, was a tween, I lost my dad. My parents were in a transitional period, as my mom's parents called it, in the weeks prior to his death. What I think that means is they were trying to figure out how to divorce without screwing me up. But I thought it was pretty clear my parents' relationship was done. They hadn't seemed happy in so long, and I don't remember them being affectionate to each other. Within a year of my dad dying, my mom met Harvey, and they had been dating for 2 years when she introduced him and me. He seemed okay. I wasn't like, OMG, so excited to have my mom dating someone, but it was fine. Mom asked me what I thought, and I told her he seemed okay, and she was really happy, which was nice. She asked me if I thought he'd make a good bonus dad, and I told her I hated how that sounded. We talked and she admitted she wanted to pick someone I could see as the new father figure in my life. She said it didn't have to be an only dad thing, but even if I loved someone enough to think of them as a second dad, I told her it wouldn't happen, but I'd be fine with Harvey sticking around and being married to her if that's what she wanted. We went to therapy, and Harvey eventually joined us. By the time we were done, I was almost a mid-teen, and they were married and Mom was pregnant. My mom has had 2 kids in the last 18 months. My half-brother, who's a toddler, and my half-sister is an infant. Things were crazy when my half-brother was born, so Mom didn't do any kind of party or celebration of his birth. Since she and Harvey made sure they wouldn't have any more kids, Mom decided to throw a party to celebrate the kid's birth. So this is where I'm pretty indifferent to the babies. I know they're technically my half-siblings, but I don't really feel anything toward them. Honestly, it makes me sad that I was the only kid my parents had together, because I think it would have been nice to have someone who's been there with me through my parents' relationship breaking down, Dad dying, and Mom remarrying and starting a family with Harvey. But I don't see my half-siblings the way I imagine seeing a full sibling, because we only share one parent. I'm so much older, and our experiences will always differ. I don't hate them, but I can't honestly say I love them. During the party for the babies, I got kind of tired of faking being happy and enthusiastic about it. So I went upstairs for a while and talked to my best friend. Apparently my mom overheard, and she talked to Harvey afterward and was devastated because she realized I don't feel all warm and fuzzy about the babies, and I'm not really happy to have half-siblings. She realized that I see them as half, which hurt her a lot because she assumed I'd see them as simply siblings. Harvey told me what Mom found out, and he told me to lie my butt off so Mom would think she misunderstood and would go back to being happy. When I said no, he told me I was being so selfish. Am I the idiot? If it's taken them that long to realize, I'd say you were putting on a good show. Not the idiot. Sometimes full-blood siblings aren't warm and fuzzy with each other either, speaking from experience. And I don't know how many teens would be thrilled with new siblings, full or half. There's a big distance, maybe simply because of age and not because they're not full siblings. You shouldn't lie. Your mom sounds like she still lives with guilt about how you were raised, so in her mind, she's trying to make it better. That's not your job, though, to make her feel better. She needs to accept the way you feel and not make you feel like there's anything wrong with it. No idiots here except your stepdad. He needs to quit guilting you. Everyone here focusing on how OP needs to get over the half thing, but what's so alarming to me is your mom's partner telling you to lie to your mother? That is very concerning. Please talk to your mom and tell her this. She needs to speak to her partner and tell him that he cannot be counseling her child to lie to her. The family has a code word that means to meet up at my house because there's bad news. So it's an emergency family meeting. This is extremely rare, and it means to drop what you're doing and get over as soon as possible. It's only an invite for the kids. No in-laws are invited. This was discussed and agreed upon by everyone. This was due to everyone being most comfortable with sharing bad news with their siblings and not having to be polite with the in-laws. For example, my daughter used the code word, and it was an emergency family meeting. She was getting a divorce and needed help. After, everyone fills in their spouses, but not all the gritty details. This happened today. An emergency meeting was called by my husband. In short, he needs surgery. Everyone left, and I got a call from my daughter-in-law, upset that she wasn't invited to the meeting. I asked her if she knew what these were, and she told me my son explained it. She reiterated that she should have still been invited, and I'm excluding her. She's upset and expects an invite next time. I told her that her feelings weren't my problem, and for darn's sake, you don't need to be invited to everything. She called me a jerk. My son told me he would deal with it, but that I could have been nicer. Am I the idiot? You are the idiot. This family sounds overdramatic. Do you really have to call an emergency drop-everything meeting with the whole nuclear family to tell them that you, a full-grown adult, are getting a divorce or need surgery? These are called normal life issues, and they're not emergencies. Most people just make a couple of phone calls, and everyone else knows within a couple of weeks. There's some main character energy in this family, especially with the secret family meeting code. That's what I was thinking. We have a pretty close family, but the whole code word to drop what you're doing and go to mom's house seems very strange to me. You are the idiot, OP. This is so depressing. You don't consider your kids' spouses as family. I feel sorry for you. You sound very angry and bitter. Going against the grain here, but I don't get the hate. There are some things I'd feel more comfortable just discussing with my parents and siblings, but not my brother-in-law, great as he is. OP is not even the issue here. Her daughter-in-law should be grappling with the fact that her own husband clearly doesn't want her there either. OP is not the idiot. Same, I don't get the hate either. Certainly, keeping secrets that affect your spouse or your nuclear family is wrong. Sharing all the personal details of somebody else's tragedy or problem when that information is not your secret to disclose, that's just poor ethics. My husband's father is ill and requires surgery. How can I throw a tantrum and make this about me? Imagine being married to that.